Hi there and welcome to another crochet pattern tutorial from Alison at Freddie Loves Crochet. This is another little Christmas tree decoration. Similar to if you've one of my subscribers, you may have seen one of my other videos doing little ribbed Christmas trees, and these are a similar sort of style, similar size, but with a completely different crochet stitch. They are made using little cluster stitches and finished off again with a little wooden button. The main differences between this and the previous video that I've done with Christmas trees is obviously the stitch. The other one is worked in rows back and forth. This one is cluster stitches that we build up row by row. And also for these I have used a cotton based yarn. You don't have to, you can use whatever yarn you want, but I thought these looked quite nice in these little cotton yarns. This is a Ricorumi, the little mini 25-gram balls of cotton. Can be quite stiff to work with at first, so just bear that in mind if you are quite new. Maybe stick to regular acrylic yarn whilst you get used to it. So we are going to use, I'm going to use this, but like I say, you can use any yarn and matching hook size that you want. If you're using the Ricorumi double knitting cotton, I am using a 4mm crochet hook with that one, and it seems to be about right. If you are slightly loose crocheter, I would go for a 3.5, or slightly tight, I'd go for a 4.5, just because you don't want it to be so tight that it curls. You'll see that these, with them being cotton, they lie nice and flat, as opposed to acrylic yarn, apologies, that may curl a little bit at the sides. So these don't really require blocking. I quite like these. You can use them on the front of a Christmas card. I sort of thread them onto twine and make little garlands out of them. They can be just single hanging ornaments as well. It's entirely up to you what you do them, or what embellishments you use on them as well. The little trunk just uses a bit of brown. You can either use brown cotton if you're using the cotton for this, or you can just use brown acrylic. I've gone for brown acrylic because I've run out of the brown cotton, otherwise I probably would have used the cotton. Either look fine though for the little trunk. Okay, so we'll get started. I'm going to use this pistachio colour of the Ricorumi to make this tutorial. So we're going to start by putting a slip knot on our hook. And you're going to start with a chain of 11. Once you've done the first couple of rows of this, it becomes very simple and self-explanatory then. So chain 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so we're going to make our first cluster stitch, and it's worth noting that the beginning cluster stitch of every row, so the first one of every row, is done slightly differently to the rest of them, because we need to account for the fact that we've got some chains there already. So we're going to go from the third chain from the hook, so chain 1, chain 2, chain 3. So identify your third chain from the hook. These, we're going to make a 3 double crochet using the US terms, or a 3 treble crochet using the UK terms. We're going to make a 3 double crochet, I generally use US terms, cluster stitch in that third chain, yarn over into that third chain, yarn over, pull through, so you've got your 3 loops, yarn over and just pull through the front 2 and leave the other 2 on there. That's our first double crochet of our 3 double crochet cluster. Yarn over into that very same chain where we've just worked, yarn over, pull it through, and you've got 4 loops, yarn over and pull it through the front 2. So we're just going through the front 2 each time. So you've now got 3 loops, so you're building loops on your hook. So we've now got 2 double crochets for our cluster of 3. So the last one, yarn over into the chain, yarn over, pull it through, and you've got 5 loops. So to finish the cluster off, you're just going to yarn over and pull through the front 2, which means you should now have, for your very first cluster of every row, you should have built up to 4 loops on your hook. Finally, yarn over and pull through all 4 together. Might need to straighten things out a little bit, give it a little pull, and that's your first cluster stitch of the row. Finish that off with a chain 1 and we're ready to make our next one. So we're not going to go into the very next chain, we're going to go to the next one along from there. So skip a chain, yarn over and go into the next chain after the skipped one. Yarn over, pull it through. This time we're going to make a 4 double crochet cluster stitch. If you remember, the previous one was a 3. This time we're going to do it 4 times because we haven't got that initial starting chain to count as one of the posts within the stitch. So we've now got 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through the front 2. So that's 1, yarn over into the very same space, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull through the front 2. So we're building all the time. So we've now got 2 and we've got 3 loops. We want to build until we've got 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over into the same chain stitch, yarn over, pull it through, and then yarn over through the front 2. So we've got 4. We are 1 stitch away from this being complete. Yarn over into the chain, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over through the front 2, and we've got our 5 loops on the hook and our 4 double crochets within that cluster. Yarn over and pull through all 5 loops. Finish it off with a chain 1. So for the rest of the row we're going to make our 4 double crochet cluster stitches as opposed to the one we started with, which was a 3. Remembering that we're going to skip a stitch in between each cluster, or skip a chain. So there, we're not going to work in that one, we're going to go to our next one and do another 4 double crochet cluster stitch. So skip a chain into the next one, yarn over into the chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into the chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over through the front 2. So you're building those loops, yarn over into the chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over through the front 2. So we've got 4 and we need 5 for this to be complete. Yarn over into the chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over through the front 2, and yarn over and pull through all 5. Give everything a little pull, straighten it out, chain 1 to finish. So we've got another 2 to go. The bottom row has 5. Yarn over, we're going to skip a chain and find the next one. And we're going to do another 4 double crochet cluster stitch in here. Yarn over, pull through front 2. Yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over through 2. Yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over through the front 2. Don't forget that front 2 pulling through as well. Yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, and we've now got our 5 loops. Yarn over and pull through all 5, finish with a chain 1. Lastly, we should now be at the very last chain. So there's the skipped one, there's the very last one. We should now be there if you started correctly with 11. So we're going to make our final 4 double crochet cluster stitch in this last chain here. Hopefully you're starting to get the hang of this now. The trickiest part is remembering to always yarn over and just pull through those front 2. Okay, and then when I've got 5 loops, yarn over and pull through all 5. Now instead of chaining 1 at the end here, because this is going to be where we turn, I would like you to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Chain 3 at the end. Now if you're normally working in things like this, you would need to sort of create a straight edge here, but because we actually want to make a triangle, we aren't going to work on this edge for our first stitch. We're going to go straight for the gap that's in between the clusters. So from now on, instead of working in chains, we are going to place our hook in the gap between the clusters. So if you remember that the very first cluster needed to be a cluster of 3 double crochets as opposed to 4, which we do for the rest of them. Yarn over into the gap. and we're going to make 3 this time. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over through 2, and we'll do that twice more to make a 3 double crochet cluster stitch. The reason we do 3 and not 4 here is because we already have a post of a stitch here from a chain, so actually we have 4 posts. It's just that we've come to have 4 in a slightly different way. So we've now got our 4 loops, because we have 4 loops for the first one and 5 for the rest. Yarn over, pull through all 4 and chain 1. And it now goes pretty similarly to how we did in the first round. So we're going to now, in the next chain space, well, it is a chain space between the clusters, we're going to create another 4 double crochet cluster stitch. So remembering we're going to build, there we go, till we've got 5 loops on our hook. Yarning over, pull it through, finishing with a chain 1. Yarn over, so we've got 2 spaces left here. So obviously if we started with 5 and we're going to go in a triangle, we want 4 for this row. So we've done 2, we want to do another 2 in the final 2 spaces. It gets a lot easier this once you've done the first row and you've worked into those chains, because working into spaces is always a little bit easier, and then making sure we're pulling through those front 2 all the time, and then yarn over and pull through all 5, chain 1, and we're up to our final space at the end for our final cluster for this row. And 1 more. So we've got our 5 loops, yarn over, pull through all 5, and if you remember, at each end we chain 3, 2, 3, and then turn. So you can see it's starting to angle up to be Christmas tree shaped. So this time again, we've got 3 gaps that we're going to go into. We've done 5, 4, and now we've got 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3 gaps there. And we're going to do our first one is a 3 double crochet cluster. So that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. So we've got 4 loops for a 3 double crochet cluster. Yarn over, pull through all of them, and chain 1. So we've got 2 spaces left for our other 2, and these are 4 clusters, 4 double crochet clusters again. Keep running out of yarn, apologies. And we've built to our 5th there, yarn over, pull through them all. Tends to get pretty self-explanatory from here. Just a little extra thing on the very last one, and then how to do the trunk as well we need to go through. So this again, building to 5, always pulling through the front 2, yarn over, pull through 2, then chain 3 at the end, 1, 2, 3, and turn. We're just going to do 2 on this one. First one needs to be the 3 double crochet, second one needs to be the 4. 1, 2, and 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our 4 double crochets and 5 loops that we've got there. So we've just got 1 left now. We're still going to chain 3 for the last one. The only difference here is obviously I have been doing, your first one has been just a 3 double crochet because of this chain, and although this last one should technically be that, I like to do 4 double crochet in the top just to bulk it out a little bit, just to round off the top nicely. So we're going against the rule kind of here. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 1 final one. So it does make it slightly bigger, but especially if you're going to put a star or something on the top, I think it's worth doing. And then we're going to trim our yarn, so we won't do the chain there because we don't want to have like a loose little flappy end. We won't do that final chain, or trim our yarn, and then you fasten off, okay? And as you can see, you've got a really cute little Christmas tree. Might need a little straighten out, just pull out those clusters a little bit. So finally, for the trunk, really simple, get your brown or whatever colour you want to do in this trunk, make a slip knot, put it on your hook. Now we're going to turn our tree upside down, and I like to have the puffier side of the bottom row of clusters as the one which is the right side. So that means that the tail end is over to the left here if you're left-handed. If you've done this as if you're right-handed, if you've done this as a left-handed pattern, it would be the opposite way around. So we're going to work sort of around the middle cluster here, so of the 5. So we're going to go in to the side of it, and we're going to work across here. Really simple, and you can customize this to how you want it to be. Hook in, yarn over, pull it through, so you've got 2 loops. We're going to create single crochets, which are UK double crochets. We're going to create 1 in that space. We're going to create another single crochet, actually, if you can see there, in the chain where the cluster stitch was made. We're going to put our hook in there and create another single, and then the third one comes in that second gap, the other side of the cluster. Okay, chain 1 and turn. And so we've basically just got 3 single crochets. How long you make this trunk is entirely up to you. 1, 2, 3. I personally like 3 rows, but 2 looks okay as well. It depends how big you'd like it to be. I'm going to do 1 more row, chain 1, turn, and then 1 more row of single crochet. 1, 2, and the last one, 3. I think for me that looks about right, but obviously personal preference is everything with these things. There we go. And then you just need to sew your ends in, get your glue gun, put a star on the top, and there you have a beautiful kind of Scandinavian natural neutral little Christmas trees. I really hope you've enjoyed this little quick pattern. Please leave me a thumbs up or a comment if you had, and hit the subscribe button. I've got more patterns coming up very soon. Thanks now. Bye bye.